What's up, everybody? Mike here, and welcome to the gaming news of the week that you may have missed out on. Starting with Bloodborne Kart, still in the race, but now it's called Nightmare Kart. So in case you have never heard this or anything like that, Bloodborne Kart originally created by Lilith Walther, the mind behind the Bloodborne remake with PlayStation 1 graphics. Bloodborne Kart was poised as a breath of fresh air for From Software game enthusiasts. With the reminiscent PS1 aesthetic, Lilith's racing game promised hours of competitive fun, but Sony, owners of the Bloodborne intellectual property, halted development by requesting removal of the game's branding. The game was delayed due to the rebranding as well too, so not all, hope is lost. Nightmare Kart was originally set to launch in January as Bloodborne Kart before being delayed to the rebranding. However, the delay has had some benefits, as it allowed Lilith to increase the number of racers from 12 to 20. Despite the name change, Nightmare Kart is spiritually a continuation of the popular Bloodborne PS1 remake released in 2022. The remake, which reimagined the modern horror classic with a 32-bit visuals, was well received by the community. As for Bloodborne itself, well, a sequel or a possible remake seems maybe farther away than ever, as the series creator, Miyazaki, pretty much said that From Software does not own the intellectual property. It's basically up to Sony. So if Sony wants to do something with it, they will. My speculation is hopefully we'll get an announcement maybe later this year for a Bloodborne remake or sequel that will release next year for the 10-year anniversary of the game. So even if Nightmare Kart is ultimately legally distinct, it's a nice gift for fans who have been waiting for nearly a decade for a follow-up. This version will feature at least 20 racers inspired by Victorian Gothic imagery, along with 16 maps distinct enough from Bloodborne to avoid any legal issues with a Japanese company. Additionally, this title will also include a battle mode along with the full campaign. Finally, it has been revealed that Nightmare Kart will be available completely free on Steam starting from May 31st. Next up, Pathfinder Gallowspire Survivors has been launched on Steam. The developer's latest game, Pathfinder Gallowspire Survivors, has just launched version 1.0, pulling the roguelike twist of survival from a classic RPG out of early access. Available now with a glorious 40% launch discount. This update adds a bunch of new options, add-ons, and Steam Deck support for a bit of mobile magic. Changes include many new weapons in the war against the growing power of an evil lich, escape damage in the blink of an eye with the new sprint mechanic, and gain decisive benefits for the race with a strategic sip from the potion belt, dedicated chapters, permanent updates through a magnificent card system, compatibility with Steam Remote Play, and fast character progression, all included in the Gallowspire Survivors release compatible Steam Deck. While intrepid heroes may fall before saving us all, there is always another race ahead. Respawn, upgrade, and return to the dungeon. If you're a fan of Vampire Survivors or the Pathfinder RPG series from Owlcat, then this action-packed dungeon crawler is a steal. Plunder on Steam today for just $6.99 USD. Something weird happened with the Xbox store where Hollow Knight Silksong suddenly appears on the Xbox store. Now, if you don't know, Hollow Knight Silksong, developed by Team Cherry, was supposed to have been released sometime during the past year, 2023, according to estimates made by the studio itself earlier. However, the studio assured last year that they were still working hard on the game's development, and the game would take longer to arrive, which would directly translate into a larger scale game. And sadly, we still don't have a release date for this game. And this is supposed to be, or at least originally was promoted to be a game that comes on Game Pass when it does launch. So the situation regarding the game, could change suddenly in the near future, as a really significant change has occurred in the last few hours, at least at the time this was reported. Hollow Knight Silksong now has a page on the Xbox Store and the rest of the platform stores where it will be available. The irony of this, or crazy thing, is when this happened, it happened on April 1st, which is April Fool's Day. So there are many that, still doubt it even happened or how it happened. And since Team Cherry hasn't said much, announcements like the one about its page on Microsoft Store are taken lightly. As you can see here on the Xbox Store itself, you'll have access to the Hollow Knight Silksong page, although it is still in very early state. And as expected, the game does not offer any option to pre-order it yet, as that's only available for games that have a confirmed release date. And Team Cherry has not announced an official release date yet. While it's true that some images have been shared, that we've already seen on other occasions, the only thing we can find on the game's page is a small description, platforms on which it'll be available, and some of the features incorporated. So just, be wary of this. Don't get too hyped, but it's a possibility, though. Maybe this summertime, around Summer Games Fest. I know Xbox is going to have their event too in June. When they go over updates on games and new announcements. So hopefully that's when they give us a release date for Silksong. Next up, the first big Enshrouded update is out now. Just a few weeks after its release in early access, the first major content update for the cooperative survival game Enshrouded is now available. With the update comes a significant number of features that were already announced on its extensive roadmap for 2024. The most important part of the update is undoubtedly the Hollow Halls. These new dungeons can be found in each biome and will challenge even the most seasoned players, offering them a worthy challenge. Additionally, in this new location, players can recruit a new NPC for their base. From King Games' perspective, they say this update will test players, and the studio recommends preparing well as possible to complete the dungeon alone, but it'll be very difficult. We recommend bringing a friend. If you collaborate with strangers, remember you can create a copy of your save files. They assured they are eager to hear feedback on Hollow Halls. And now for some bad news, guys. You hate to keep hearing about this in the industry, and that's layoffs. Ubisoft makes 45 new layoffs. It's wild, you know. In 2023, the total number of people who lost their jobs due to internal restructuring reached 10,500 during the first 4 months of 2024. The figure already exceeds 8,000 affected workers. If this trend continues, the previous figure will be greatly surpassed. This obviously concerns the rest of the industry, which seems to be experiencing an unsustainable moment. Another major player that had decided to lay off few workers is Embracer Group, which was even considering what to do with Gearbox, creators of the acclaimed Borderlands franchise. Fortunately for the developer of the famous saga, Take-Two has acquired Gearbox and already has several projects in development, which makes the workers much more at ease and, above all, in a stable job situation. And real quick, I'll just say this needs to stop. They need to figure out something there, because you got studios like Larian and other companies that, you know, aren't really laying off anybody. Have found ways around that to avoid that even happening. And you got Microsoft and like these other companies essentially trying to blame it on the cost of video game development being more and other factors just like that, and how, you know, games aren't selling as much. It's like, well, yeah, if you're going to give us unpolished, unfinished games and piecemeal as content, you're damn right they're not going to sell as well. Or if you're just going to make a poor game, a poor quality game, you know, even without all the microtransactions where being a factor, yeah, it's not going to sell well. So it's just, y'all need to figure it out, improve it, because you got studios out here, indie developers and things like that, with 300 or 400 staff members that didn't lay off anybody or hardly anyone, if that at all, and are making it work. So Microsoft, Sony, Ubisoft, EA, figure it out. Moving on to some positive news here. Dragon's Dogma 2 has sold over 2.5 million copies. Capcom is freaking doing it with this game despite the issues, despite some of the fan backlash, things like that. And I have even said my own criticisms about this game, at least when it comes to performance issues, because I'm still dealing with, at least last time I played anyway, a failed to create save bug that has yet to be fixed. Capcom, I'm happy this game sold well for you, but please fix the bug. But yes, reports indicate that the title has sold exceptionally well in the United Kingdom and Japan. In the UK, it's been hailed as the best-selling launch of the year. On the other hand, in Japan, it ranked second in sales during its first week. And then if you want to factor in, you know, franchise's cumulative sales, including the original game and Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen edition, this has exceeded 10 million units thanks to the sequel's significant impact. So this is good on Capcom. You know, it is a fun game. I'm enjoying it. I just wish they didn't have the microtransactions in there whatsoever, and they like at least could have been honest about it ahead of time instead of just waiting till the launch. And then the performance issues, like RE Engine was not designed for open world games, at least not yet. So hopefully they get these issues resolved fast, get another patch out, big major update out fast to fix more of the issues that plague the game, and so it can be a more polished experience overall in the long run. Now this one can, I don't know, you can take it with a grain of salt here. You can believe it, don't believe it here, because I'm still a little bit skeptical about this one. So apparently, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake is still alive. This was initially announced in 2021, but it's been in development hell for some reason or another since the announcement. And in case you forgot, this was announced as a PS5 exclusive on console and also on PC. After rumors circulated that the game had been canceled, many were waiting for its creators to speak out. Now, Saber Interactive has done so. So Saber Interactive spoke with IGN after leaving Embracer Group to become a private company. After many rumors, the official confirmation that this remake is alive has relieved many. This is a quote from Matthew Kart from Saber Interactive talking about, "It's clear and obvious that we are working on this," he pointed out. It has appeared in the press numerous times. What I will say is the game is alive and kicking, and we are dedicated to ensuring that we exceed consumer expectations. I believe this game was originally being developed by Aspire. I'm not sure how you say it, but it's in before it switched to Saber Interactive. So, and Aspire, they're not doing so hot. So I'm glad it switched devs, and that dev team, I don't know what the heck's going on, but they're not doing so hot. Saber Interactive, I feel, has a better track record overall in terms of making good games. So I'm hoping that they don't mess us up. I'm excited about this. I love Star Wars, and I have yet to go through the original KOTOR myself. I own both KOTOR 1 and 2, and I definitely am going to try them out. And I'm glad this remake is alive and well. And, you know, fans, we love the Star Wars universe and characters. We want more good Star Wars games. Dino Crisis will be Capcom's next remake, possibly. So this could be the next, you know, Capcom remake coming out, because Capcom noticed that a recent poll had Dino Crisis as one of the most requested games to the Japanese company, although Mega Man, Onimusha, and Ace Attorney were also popular. Capcom currently has successful titles on PC, Steam Deck, PS4, PS5, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch, but there are fans who miss some retro comebacks, such as in the case of Dino Crisis. This is not something new. There have been moments where their users have made themselves known, and even some artists have imagined what a remake of the game would look like in Unreal Engine 5. The reality is, the developer and the publisher has a lot of games waiting to be revived in the form of remakes and remasters, but most are forgotten. However, those who still remember retro games like these do not forget easily and continue to make themselves heard. Like me personally, let's bring back Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Let's bring back Dino Crisis. Let's bring back Resident Evil Outbreak 1 and 2, and so on and so forth. And now the, vote and things like they did on their Twitter, this doesn't, necessarily mean a direct confirmation that we will get a remake of Dino Crisis, or that's about to be announced, but we can hope, right? And the last bit of news I want to talk about you may have missed out on is Bethesda reveals how development of The Elder Scrolls 6 is going. Bethesda referred to the development of Elder Scrolls 6 as part of a post made on their Twitter account to commemorate the 30th anniversary of The Elder Scrolls. The company took the opportunity to discuss the work being done on a new installment in the last paragraph of the post. And they talk about how, last but not least, yes, we are developing the next chapter, The Elder Scrolls 6, even now returning to Tamriel and playing the early versions of the game fills us with the same joy, excitement, and promise of adventure. There are still no certainties about when the new game from Bethesda's saga could arrive, and it was clear from the message posted that the company is still far from being able to determine a specific date. You gotta remember, or maybe you don't remember this, but the truth is, this was technically teased, and the teaser trailers are announced in 2018. That is 6 years ago. And I guess to some, it's been believed that Elder Scrolls 6 could hit the market for PC and Xbox exclusivity not until 2026. Personally, I think it's going to be way longer than that. We're not going to see this game for maybe, 2028. The next Xbox console, basically, is what I'm guessing. And there's been speculation about this could also land on PS5 with, Microsoft being a little bit more open to put their games on, PlayStation now. We had Sea of Thieves, Hi-Fi Rush, and Grounded, I believe, as recent ones that have finally come to PlayStation. I don't know if I could see this being a day one on both PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. I think maybe they may go the Sony route, maybe wait 6 months, a year, even 2 years before they decide to put it on PlayStation, because that's what Sony does with their games as far as waiting to put it on PC, for example. But who knows? Things get changed. The industry's always changing, always fluctuating. New deals and arrangements and things like that are always a possibility and are happening. So we have to wait and see. But that wraps it up for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed the gaming news of the week that you might have missed out on. If you did, leave a comment what you think about this news. Subscribe if you're new, and leave a like. My name's Mike. Thanks for watching.